How to level up your construction team with effective training. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some best practices for what you can do to really level up your team. I'm going to tell you the different types of training that you can engage with and what my recommendations are for organizations. So stay with us. Okay, so I love this. I come from a training organization, and I know that I'm probably annoying everybody, but I cannot stop bragging about Hensel Phelps, where I grew up. I spent 14 years there and was just enamored with the amount of training that I received. Training as a field engineer, training in the office, training with scheduling, training with scaffolding, with safety, with the quality process, everything. They train, and train some more. In fact, at Hensel Phelps, it is a standard to, in the weekly team meeting, literally coordinate the training that is going to happen not only that week, but training for the overall staff so that they get that continually. Training. When I've been doing posts lately about field engineering and about becoming a great superintendent, I always see Hensel Phelps peeps on there saying, I am so great, meaning that they are so grateful for their experience in those training programs. We must train. Let me say one other thing that I think is really interesting. Kate and Kevin and I went to muster, I think it was muster number 20, with Echelon Front, Jocko Willink, and Leif Babin, the authors of Extreme Ownership and The Dichotomy of Leadership. And the theme was always lots of training, lots of planning, and then executing according to the laws of combat or the rules of combat. It was quite amazing because the things that we talk about all the time in construction about training our people, using the right systems, and planning and preparing, statistically having positive outcomes are the same in the military. They're not just going out there willy-nilly and like gunning people down. Not at all. They practice, they train like they want to actually perform in the field, and they plan their missions, and they do contingency planning, and they do mock-ups. They go out and they literally simulate these things either on paper or with paintballs. And then when they go out and do the mission, you've heard this before, they cover and move, they simplify the actual mission and all of the instructions, they prioritize and execute the right things and detach emotionally, meaning that they're looking at it from a fresh set of eyes, and they decentralize command. I mean, this is absolutely a fantastic way to go about things. And so there's no command and control. There's no, I'm just going to tell everybody what to do. It is heavily based on people training, getting good experience, running the simulations, doing their planning, and then going into combat, and each person knowing how to accomplish the mission with that decentralized command. That's literally how it works. And we've got to do the same thing in our industry if we want to be effective. I constantly say it, and I know people are tired of hearing me, and I apologize for this, but I'm trained in AutoCAD, in Revit, in Navisworks Manage. I can create a Synchro 40 schedule. I can work in SketchUp. I know how to use P6 and Microsoft Project and Asta. I know how to use any software that deals with tack planning. I can go do layout and control. I can create lift drawings. I can do anything you want because I've learned these things skill by skill. If you want your people to do great, they must be a part of training. Okay, so that's key. That is the theme. We need to 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, 10x the amount of training that we do on our industry. And so I'm going to give you some tips for how we can do that. Real quick before we do that though, I want to tell you my story. So first, I went in with Hensel Phelps as a cement mason. I was an apprentice, and obviously we did lots of training through the union. Once I hurt my shoulder and came on as a salaried entity, I was a rodman working with the field engineering crews. And then literally I got AutoCAD training immediately. I got training on the total station, training from, and actually a professional surveyor in West Crawford, training on all of these things. Then advanced into a field engineer position, learning quality, frontline safety, learning how to do lift drawings, learning construction management overall. The superintendents and the team spent time with us. Then we go to scheduling seminars where we literally learn how to plan and schedule, how to create 3-week look-ahead plans. Our 3-week schedules is what they call them, and our 120-day, 90-day look-aheads. We were going through safety training, scaffolding training, anything that we needed to know on the project site. we grew up learning. Every single year, it was at least 2 to 4 weeks of training throughout my career at Hensel Phelps. They encouraged us to do outside training as well. They had internal programs like the Field Engineer Boot Camp and internal training specifically for superintendents. These were made for superintendents and by the General Superintendent Group. I remember there was a director of training and development, learning and development, that would start to count the amount of hours that the organization spent on training. And every year they went up and up and up and correlated that with profitability numbers, which was great. They had an LMS. Anything that you basically needed was on that LMS. And then let me continue throughout my career. Then I go to work for a different company. By the way, the Hensel Phelps method is great, but the other company I went to work for had a $5,000 a year benefit. If it was related to your job and construction related, you could go do that training. So I started to take training from the AGC for BIM, for Lean. I took my DBIA certification. I started to take Lean course certification, leadership courses, and on and on and on. The first year I spent $1,500, then $3,000, then $5,000, then I spent $15,000. Then when I'm running my own business with partners, I'm spending $30,000, $50,000 a year in training, and continue that. And my success, influence, and salary just keeps going up and up and up. So I'm not like beating a drum and saying like, oh, I'm better than anybody. I'm not. In fact, I look up to you. What I'm saying is you deserve training. There's nothing out there that you need to know that isn't in a book or a training somewhere. So here are some suggestions that I want to give you. Number one, the best companies have a field engineering training program. They use the book Construction Surveying and Layout by Wes Crawford, which covers the entire field engineering position, including safety, quality, and lift drawings. And they have field engineer boot camps, and they enable their field engineers to go learn on the project as builders in the role, whether they have self-perform or not. We've got to get rid of this myth. If you have self-perform, that doesn't automatically mean you have field engineers. And if you don't have self-perform, that doesn't automatically mean that you don't. And if you have a construction project, you have field engineers. It doesn't matter if you don't have self-perform. You still create lift drawings for the concrete. You still create lift drawings for the masonry. You still make sure that you're doing layout and control for all foundations and superstructure. And you're still working with the field engineers throughout the entire project to make sure we're implementing the quality program. 100%, that's how we do it. That is where your people, whether they are former surveyors or foremen or workers or they're college graduates or they're industry hires, learn how to go be builders. Again, a position of a superintendent project manager, you do not learn how to be a builder in those positions. You need to be a builder to do them well, but you learn how to be a builder as a field engineer. And some of you are thinking, yeah, I got that as a foreman. I got that here. Hey, unless you did lift drawings, which teaches you plan reading and how to see things in 3D, right? You haven't gotten that builder experience. Unless you've done surveying, layout, and control and see things in a coordinate geometry system, you haven't gotten that builder experience. Unless you're actually working in the same mud as the foreman and learn to respect them and enable them, you haven't learned what it means to be a construction professional. That is key. So every single company needs to get a field engineering program in place. I will help you to set up your first field engineer boot camp. I will show you the books. I will give you the resources. And by the end of 2025, we will have Elevating Construction Field Engineers complete. The other thing is having role training. So in your learning management system, have trainings and scorecards by role. One thing that I recommend for every company is to understand their project delivery or operating system. Make sure that that's simple, that it's clearly articulated like our books are, like the First Planner system, right, in that kind of a format, and that you do training on that throughout the entire organization and that you reinforce it with field walks. That's another recommendation I have for you. The other two things that I would highly recommend, well, obviously you have safety and quality training, diversity training, and I know what you're thinking, this is super important. Diversity training is key, and we need to make sure that we have leadership training. Now you can deploy these with the Learn, Teach, Learn method, where you all are learning together in a study group, teaching it to each other, and that means that new people learn and you learn even more deeply. Or you can literally have professional training developed for you within your company. You can develop the training programs yourself, which I highly recommend. Or you can do external trainings. One that comes to mind in addition to obviously the ones that we sell here at Elevate, like the Super PM Bootcamp, but like everybody in construction should go to a muster at Echelon Front. The bottom line is we've got to invest it. Training is not an expense. It's an investment. Training doesn't cost you money, it makes you money. And so I really want to encourage everybody to up their game when it comes to training and start leveraging out there everything that's available and investing in our people. I'm going to turn this into a blog post down below for you to reference, and if you ever want help knowing what kinds of training are available, reach out to us and in the comments below. I absolutely know you'll love it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. On we go.